It definitely seems like they kind of have a technique where both sides pretty much just kind of shoot out their spiel and kind of ignore the other guy, except a few minimal side points.
Yeah, you know why? Because, and this is not me just being funny to pick on them. A creationist can say more wrong things in 30 seconds than anybody else on the planet, and an accurate response to those statements might take 10 minutes or more, and that's just to barely scratch the surface.
Oh, so, that definitely seems to be the case with William Lane Craig, because he just totally spews out rapid fire, flim flam man style.
Yeah.
It's that public speaking thing again.
Collage of crap.
Yeah, and they can also just flat out lie because there's so much information, there's nobody fact-checking. So they can get up there and, for example, they're talking about the historicity of Jesus. It can be, well, I'm sure my opponent here is going to have lots of things to tell you about, but there's simply no way that he can overcome the fact that the Bible is the most accurately documented book of all time, and we have more copies of it than we have anything else, and we have more evidence for the existence of Jesus than we have for anything else, and we have more of this and more of that and this and that and this and that, and these all compare, and these are accurate, and there's only this many potential discrepancies with describable discrepancies, and rattle all that off. Well, what are you going to do when you get up there? Because he didn't offer any evidence. He offered nothing but a rapid-fire list of assertions. He didn't back any of it up. It's one of the reasons why people have asked, Matt, have you debated or are you interested in debate? Yeah, I'll do it. I have interest in that. But I have much more interest in discussion and informal debate, because I'm not concerned about winning the judge's vote or even finding out whose mind was changed, or who won by who changed the most minds out there. I just want to get the information out and change or correct or improve as many minds as we can, either way. So my on the show, that one of the benefits is that the second somebody says something that's wrong, I don't have to let them continue that list of assertions of this and this and this and this. I can, bam, you're on hold. No, please justify what you're saying. You can't do that in most of the debates.
Yeah, right, because a forensic debate has a formal structure.
Yeah. And
we have noticed, and we get this in email a lot, and down the years doing the television show, what theists like to do is exactly what Matt just said. They will bring this double armload of crap and dump it all in front of the skeptic, and the skeptic is expected to be the one to sort through it and deal with it piece by piece by piece by piece.
Well, I've definitely been impressed with Craig's blind them with bullshit flim-flam man style, where he just rapid fire spews out.
Yeah, exactly, and he has
a name,
a
sentence, and then moves on. And
yeah, and he has it down to a science, because he's just, or down to an art, you might say, just because he does it for a living. I mean, this is what the man does. He has all that experience public speaking, so he's fantastic at that, and he can just win on the style points.
And there are Craig devotees who've tried calling into the show. I mean, and they'll be like, what about Tertullian and Tacitus and Josephus and rattle off a whole bunch of stuff. And fortunately, I don't have to take it.
Yeah,
I can actually say, okay, let's go. Let's do this point by point. Let's justify what you're saying.
Yeah, and that's why what we try to do is, policy that you started up was, instead of just, if a theist wants to call the program or wants to email us at the TV show address, just give us your best shot. Give us the best argument you have. Tell us exactly what you believe, why you believe it. Bring your A game and leave the rest at home. Just give us the one thing that, if you had to pare it all down, that you think justifies belief in God. Just give us that.
And I think I can say, almost without fail, if the conversation is allowed to proceed, at some point, if it's allowed to proceed to the point where they either hang up or admit it, what they will end up admitting is that they have a faith-based position that they can't justify to somebody else. They feel justified in, but they can't justify it to somebody else. Boy, that doesn't make for very good debate.
Yeah, and those are the honest ones. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, we've had situations like that, but Tracy and I were duking it out with a woman who emailed us at one point. And this lady was immediately wanting to just dump the double arm load. And I said, no, stop. Just give us the one thing. Give us the best argument you have. And so she presented it, right? I think her thing was near-death experiences. Okay. So I presented the, standard refutation for the near-death experience claim. And what did she do? She's like, she did the usual thing of, okay, well, that didn't work. Here's my next thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, I told you to bring the best thing you have. Now, if the best thing you have didn't work, you think the second best thing you have is going to work? No. So
only if the second, third, fourth, and fifth all work, which is unlikely.
So that's.
But I'm similarly.
It's kind of disappointing because I try, expose myself to theistic arguments, hoping that they'll have something that's at least thought provoking, and I'm kind of just shocked by how really pathetic his are. I mean, he does the argument for morality, which is just one of the weakest theistic arguments, and then he just turns it into an argument from consequences midway through. I mean, just so many examples like that.
And he's in love with Kalam.
Yeah, that was pretty much the conflating, because the universe in its current form had a beginning, the universe had a beginning, and just excluding the possibility that the universe came from some sort of pre-existing.
Yeah, I am similarly unimpressed with Craig, and on the subject that you mentioned, or somebody mentioned, or maybe it was Martin, of doing the debate and then running around claiming victory. That's even happened on this show, where we had an apologist on who we had an extensive debate that most people
2/3 of the episode.
The Matt Slick one that makes everyone groan.
And he asks a question, of if physical / conceptual is not a true dichotomy, then what's the third option? And made a big deal out of the fact that I couldn't actually label a third option, and then runs around claiming victory in the debate the next day on his forum. Meanwhile, when asked whether his God was physical or conceptual, Slick's answer was exactly the same as mine: neither. Thereby admitting that it wasn't a true dichotomy. And the answer was there all the time in the name of the argument, which is transcendent. But anyway, is that all you had, was to
that's
complain about
it.
Alex, or to complain about William Lane Craig? Yeah. I don't know. I'd love to find somebody.
Well, I mean, is there anyone you can actually recommend that makes kind of an interesting argument for theism, or is there just pretty much nothing out there?
I'm not aware of anything. If there was something out there, I'd be a theist.
It depends on how you wanted to find interesting.
Well, I mean, just at least thought-provoking, because, I don't really expect to be converted, but I expect to at least be challenged.
Yeah. Well, it depends on, if you're defining interesting as who is more fun to pick through and refute. I guess that's, you're scratching your chins.
Yeah, I've been asked before if there was any particular theist that I'd recommend, or apologist that I'd recommend. I can't, because every time I've gotten to the point where I thought, okay, this is the guy. Mm-hmm. So, for example, when I was still a believer, I was a fan of Josh McDowell, particularly Evidence That Demands a Verdict. And then as I began to study, then it became obvious to me what an unscholarly buffoon Josh McDowell is, and how his evidence and argument are laughable. The thing is that they're presented as a preaching to the choir, preaching to the uneducated, credulous, uninterested in learning about reality choir. And what it does is it bolsters up their preconceptions. And I was part of that choir. I believed this. I open up evidence. Look, here is all of this evidence which justifies what I already believe. Wow, this is cool. I am justified in my beliefs. Mm-hmm. And then you trudge off down the line. And there's nothing I like more than have somebody call in who has had their faith bolstered by Comfort or McDowell or Strobel or Craig, and to come on and to present their favorite argument, only to get the wake-up call of a lifetime, because I know when the call's done, not only have other people benefited, but that individual is going to have to go back and start rereading and starting to find, wait, what's the next thing? Somehow he got off script on me. I'm not even sure what happened. He didn't say yes when he was supposed to.
Yeah. And by the same
I don't find any of them impressive.
Yeah, I didn't have quite the fundamentalist background you had. I had more of a mainstream Christian background. You really studied it.
You were never a true Christian.
Yeah,
none of us were, according to them.
And
you know what?
Depending
You're
on their
absolutely
definition,
right.
I agree.
Actually, you know what? You're absolutely right, because you're talking about the people that you talk to these days say they believe this, that, and the other, and they don't really. I honestly don't really think I ever did.